Good afternoon, everyone. So glad you could join us today. I'm going to start off this series on interactivity with drag and drop templates and more. And hope that you're doing well with all your remote learning that you've had to do. I just want to start off with some norms for the meeting. Please take a moment to introduce yourself in the chat and tell us, have you ever used slides before and how? And then you're going to use the chat to ask any questions today. And then also to tag someone if you're wanting to respond, use the symbol and their name. So, for example, Christy's in here today and she will be responding as Regional 14 Digital Streaming. And then also, I've got Sean in here with me, and he's going to be responding just as himself, and he's following the YouTube portion. And so, this session is going to be recorded and you will receive resource links once it's over. And at the end, I will take this presentation and I will place the link to it in the description of the YouTube video. So you'll have that link that you can go back and watch again, pause it if you want to give some of these activities today a try for yourself. I'm Hillary Miller, and I'm starting my second year as a digital innovation consultant here at Region 14, and have two great partners in crime, Christy Kate and Sean Schleter. And like I said, they're on here to help answer questions today as I go through this. Let's go ahead and get started. One of the very first things I want you to consider whenever you're doing drag and drop or interactive activities with Google Slides is that there are things that you're going to want locked. And there's not a really easy way like there used to be in the old Promethean. And so I'm going to show you some tips and tricks for that. And so there's things that you're not going to want the kids to manipulate and you want to have locked and not moved. So two ways to do that. You can do it through the master view or through the background. Okay, so we'll look at both those ways. Also, remember that when the students are in presentation view, they cannot manipulate the slides. So if you're wanting them to access or to work on a drag and drop activity or a worksheet that you're wanting to make fillable, then keep in mind they're going to have to do that in just the regular edit mode and not in presentation. And also, don't be afraid to use that surrounding area. So that real estate, the more real estate that you can use on the outside of your slide, where you can have words or any of those manipulatives that you want the students to drag, then the better off you are. So don't be afraid to use that surrounding area. So starting with the master view. So on the master view, I'm going to show you on this one. On the master view, to get to the master, you're going to go to View, Master, and then I like to start with a blank slide layout. So for example, on this presentation today, if I go to View and I go to Master, then these are all the specific layouts that I have designed for this slide presentation. And so you can change these. These are the normal, like the title slide one that you usually see, or the body and title. All of these can be changed. So these are things that I might want to use multiple times. And you will see all these different templates over here as they appear throughout my presentation. So that's just a great way, and these can't be moved. So if I wanted to design something in this View Master, then when I come back over to my presentation, then it can't be, I can drag across this and the kids will not be able to move it. So that's an awesome thing that you may want to check out. So once you're in that slide view, I just simply click to the X to go back to the regular view. And then always add your text boxes on the outside, so not in that master view. That's going to be the backgrounds, the images that you want to lock, but all the text needs to be back in this regular. Okay, so the next one that we're going to look at is saving the image and making it as a background, so inserting it as a background. So I would design the slide with everything that I want, or that I don't want to move. So let's say I want to design this and I'm going to give this to the students, but I don't want them to do anything to my text. Then I could simply go to File, Download as PNG, and it has taken a picture of just that slide. And so there it is down there in my downloads. Then I can go back in here and I can insert it. And you're going to see me do this multiple times throughout this presentation. So these are just the steps that you can refer back to once we go along. So now I want to show you some interactive PDs. And I know most of you, if you signed up for this, you're probably wondering about worksheets, or you may be wanting to get away from the worksheets and trying to find out a great way for those students to be able to complete things that they used to do. So one thing that I would like to show you is I have a shapes PDF right here that I've saved. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to take this and take this worksheet and stick it inside of a Google slide. So the thing that I want to do with this is I'm going to need some screencasting tools. So something I can take a snapshot. And I'll show you some great examples of those here in a minute. Mine is, I like an extension called full screen capture. And so I want to make sure that I can get all the worksheet in. So I can hit the, I can zoom out, zoom in, whatever I need to do to make sure I can get it all in one click. So I'm going to use my extension up here, and I'm going to say capture page snippet. So now I'm going to drag across my worksheet, and I don't really need that at the bottom. Okay, so now up at the top at my screen, at my extension, it's got a blinking red 1. So it knows I've taken something. So I'm going to click back on it. And there is my screenshot or my capture of this worksheet. Now I want to save this as an image, okay, because that's how I'm going to have to upload it into my slides. So I'm going to click Save. Now I've got one that I started just simply called Shapes PDF. Now one of the great things that you want to do on a worksheet is they're used to seeing that 8.5 by 11 sheet of page. So you're going to go up to File, Page Setup, and you're going to change it from widescreen down to custom. And I can change this page size to a sheet of paper and click Apply. So there's my sheet of paper, and I want to take this PDF now that I took the image of, and I'm going to insert it. So to do that, I'm going to right click and I'm going to say change background. Then I want to choose the image. Where is that image? Well, I can go to my upload folder and browse for it, but right here, it is saved down in my little download pop-up. And then now when I drag across this slide, it can't be moved. Now I should have taken a screenshot of the bottom part not off. So I can fix that here in a second. I'll show you what I'm going to do for that. But now I need to go get the 5324 because look, the kids can't drag them and drop them. So I'm going to go take another screenshot of that same page. But now I just want to screenshot the 5432. So I'm going to do capture page snippet again and then just do my numbers. Okay, so I'm going to go back to that slide. It's blinking at me again to let me know that I've got a picture. I'm too blind. I can't see over there. So I got to look over here. Sorry. So I'm going to save this and I can just drag it up on my slide. Now, I know you're thinking, why did she do them all together? And here is why. I can double click and I can use these, now that it's outlined all in black, I can use these handlebars to crop. So I'm going to scoot this in for the 5, hit enter, and now it only shows the 5. I can control C to copy, control V to paste. Yes, I have another 5, but if I double click on that 5, I still see the 324. So all I have to do now is to go move my handlebars to the next number. Instead of taking individual screenshots, to me, this is just a little bit faster. So then I can control V again because I had already copied it, and I can paste it. Same thing, move my handlebars down. So I think you get the picture for that one. So I'm going to go ahead and move along. So now the kids, if I use that real estate, remember now my items are over here and the students can go and drag them to the appropriate box. Okay, so that's a way to make this sheet interactive. So I'm going to go back. Another one that you may be interested in, I know I used to teach science, so the exam view worksheets or things like that where they're multiple choice always was a big one that we've used in the past. So this that I'm fixing to show you will work for that as well. So this is an adjective PDF, and I've already done the same thing where I took the screenshot and I've already inserted it as the background because I can't move across it. But maybe I want to, it says circle the adjective. Now, some grade levels can go up here to the shape tool and they are very capable of doing this themselves. And they can use the circle and say 3. And if they do that, then they're going to have to go and change it to a transparent fill. I also like to change the color of the outline of my shape, and maybe I want it blue, maybe not red because I might want to grade with it. So I can change the line thickness, and so there's my circle. Now for the younger kids, I can take this same circle and maybe I want to move it over here. And I'm going to do a control C to copy, control V. I'm going to paste, paste, paste. And then, so what I'm going to do is already have these over here that the kids can drag, but I don't want to leave them like this. So here's a tip and a little shortcut. If I drag across them to select them all at once, then I can go up to Arrange, Align, Center. Same thing again, Arrange, Align, but this time Middle. Now it stacks all of those duplicates on top of each other. So now if I select them, so when I drag across the whole thing, it's going to keep them all selected. And when I move them, they're going to move together. But now the students, when they move one, they're still going to have a stack underneath it that they can complete the sheet. And maybe I might need to add some instructions. So think about that when you're assigning things to your students, if they're remote or whether they're in the class, just giving them a few little more instructions can really make things a lot easier. So maybe I need to add an arrow, and telling them, you're going to use this. So maybe I want to make this red. I'm going to make that. So that's another way to do this type of worksheet. You could do this for the A, B, C, and D. You could do something like this for all kinds of activities where the kids need to, instead of writing, instead of having them try to use the trackpad to draw. So let's look at another. So right here, these are the screenshot tools that I suggest. So the light shot is one that people have used, but they are, when you do the light shot on the annotation, you can take the screenshot, but you can also add the annotation inside that. So that's a good one. I haven't used it as much, saw it recently and thought that's a really great one to try. The full page screenshot one is the one that I used and just showed you. I absolutely love it. The other one sometimes that I use comes with your computer. So with Windows 10 is called the Snip and Sketch. It's a screencasting screenshot tool. And if you're still running Windows 7, then it's called the snipping tool. And so you can just look for that down in your search bar. And let's see, you'll see mine down here. It's little scissors next to my Chrome icon. So those are just some three that I would recommend. Okay, and we talked about custom page size. So in case you forget, here's the instructions for that. We went to File, Page Setup, the custom, and changed to that 8.5 by 11. If you wanted a landscape, you can change it to 11 by 8.5, and then just make sure to click Apply. Now, whenever you're using those and trying to make those fillable PDFs, when you're working with text boxes, it could kind of be difficult for some of the younger kids or for your students with disabilities to grab those text boxes. So here are some different choices for you to try. So you could use just a simple text box. And the reason I put these over here is I wanted you to see when I'm clicking on them and trying to drag them, the difference. So with the text box, if I click on it accidentally on the text, then it's going to try and make me edit. So I can't drag that. I have to know on the text box to not click on it on any of the actual text. That will give me the crosshairs that I can drag. So when the kids see those crosshairs, then now they're able to drag. The other type you could do is word art. So word art is a little harder for the kids to be able to edit. So when I click on it once, I can go and try and drag it. I would have to double click on it to edit it. So it's a little bit more difficult for them to mess up. The other option that I saw recently that I really liked was just doing a table. So what they did is they went to Insert Table and they just did a 1 by 1. And then you can size it however you would like. And so the great thing about this, let me just go ahead and show you here. So on the table, I can go and drag it. So yes, they can edit it, but it's a little easier with this border on the outside for the kids to grab and drag. So those are just some helpful tips in that. And then you also have the option to do a placeholder text, but that's only in the master slides. So we had gone to view master earlier. And so on this, let me make sure I do a blank one so I don't mess myself up. Oops. So on this one, you can do an insert and a placeholder and do like a title placeholder. And so what that will let you do is, yes, it says click to edit master title here, but on their side, it would be a place where they could click and type their name or whatever. So that's another option for the text, but it would let them click in that box. The only bad problem with that is that if you have a lot of text boxes you're wanting to do, this can't go away, this click to edit. You can make your text smaller, but those words are going to show up, so it just gets a little clunky. So the other three ways are the ways I like the best, but there are some times where that works. So we can get out of that. So those are your options for creating text boxes when you're working with fillable PDFs. But what if we flipped the switch? Okay, so I've showed you ways to take worksheets and make them interactive, but what if we just use Google Slides to do that for ourselves? You know, any opportunity I can to make my own things is an opportunity I think is well worth my time. Um, I actually timed myself the other day as I was working on this presentation on creating that the worksheet, well, the this interactive PDF. So to make these shapes in this box and to type this, it took me 2.5 minutes to do. I could not get up from my cubby, go to the copy machine, scan in a document, and come back in 2.5 minutes. So just some of those things, like whatever you're trying to get them to work on, just to think about that, that yes, it may take a little bit of effort in making it, but really you may be saving yourself time in the end. So what if we did flip that switch? So I'm going to show you some ways to take some activities and to totally flip that switch. So the first one that I want to show you, and all of these at the end, I'll link them all to this slide, is I want to show you that exact thing that I did. So there's the worksheet, and I'm going to go and open up a new slide. Yeah, and I could have also done slides.new, but I want to show you that way also to get to it, or you can go through your drive and click create and start from there. So all I simply did there is I drug across and highlighted that and hit the delete button because I want to start with a blank slide. So I have that worksheet that, remember this one? Okay, so I know I need shape tool and boxes and numbers. So I can go up here to the shape tool and I want to start with my heart. Okay, so I'm going to drag out my heart, and then it's not going to really, I'm not going to take the time right now to do anything about the color, anything like that, because I want to show you some tips and tricks with that. So I'm just going to Control V, I'm going to paste my heart. Notice you have the guides to help you line things up. So I can center it. I can also tell the little blue ones underneath, tell me that I am good on all of the spacing. That one wasn't centered, was it though? Okay, so there's those, and then I'm going to do the shape tool and do um, or my call outs for my star or whatever that option is. You can also, if you get two of them or if you need a bunch more, I can drag across both of those and do the Control C, Control V, and I can paste multiple at a time. So I don't have to do them one at a time. And then let's do my triangles. So you kind of get the idea on this one. So I'm just going to stop right there for now. Um, Now I want to go make some colors on this. So if I drag across all my hearts, that's going to select them all. I can go to the paint can, hit the red, and it's going to go and change the color for all of them. I can go here to the border and I can make it transparent. I'm going to do the same thing with my stars. I'm going to go to the paint can and make them yellow. Change it to transparent. Same thing with my triangles. Okay, so now I want to go and make my text. So I'm going to do another shape because shape can also be text boxes. So if let's say I want to make this, I want my box to be white, but I want my line to be black and I want it to be a thick line. Okay, so now I have my box. When I double click inside of it, now it becomes where I can put text in it. So I'm going to go to my align and I'm going to say that I want it to be centered. And I'm going to change my font. I like Oswald because it's really clean and very easy for the kids to read. And then let's see, I need a 3. I could have done that a little bit bigger. But then I'm going to go Control C, Control V to copy and paste. So there's my different numbers that I need. And yes, I have all 3s, but all I have to do is click here, change, and select it and say, and I can use this space on the outside for all my pieces, or I can have them right there on the edge. But now all the students have to do is go and drag them to the appropriate spot. So real quick and way faster and easier than going down to the copy machine and Xeroxing. And then I have this that can be edited, and I can assign this in Google Classroom as make a copy for each student, and each student can go and fill this out. So that's one way. My other way is an activity for vocabulary. So a Frere model is really easy to make, as well as a bunch of the other graphic organizers. I would suggest if you start making some of these graphic organizers to leave them as generic as you can, like as far as like the background, and make you a folder of graphic organizers that all you have to do is change the text, and you can use them for several different things. So we're going to make a Frere model. Okay, so I'm going to go in new presentation. And once again, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and change this and call it Frere model. Okay, I'm going to get rid of my theme over here. I'm going to drag across it, say goodbye. And then on the Frere model, I'm going to insert a table. So I want a 2x2 table for this. So there's my table, and I'm going to make it bigger. And I can watch my lines and make sure I'm lining it up. And I can't see today. Close enough for now. Okay, so on this, I'm going to write my text. Okay, so actually, I've got my table selected still, and I should have done this. I'm going to go black for my border, and I'm going to go thick. So there's my boxes. So I'm going to insert a text box here. And this is going to be my definition. And I'm going to use that same font. Now all I have to do on this, I want to Control C, Control V. I'm going to drag it over here. And I'll watch my little thing so it's lined up. And now this one is my illustration. But I don't want it right here, because if they're putting text or putting pictures in here, I want to move it over. So I'm going to go to align, and I'm going to say I want it to be aligned right, and I'm going to put it over in this corner. So then I can copy this one and put it down here, and then I can copy this one and move it down to the bottom. So then I change this definition to examples, and I change this illustration to non-examples. Now I want my word to be in the middle. So I'm going to do a shape tool, and I kind of like the cloud, so I'm going to use it. It's going to be on top. I want to tell it that I want it to be a white fill. I want to give it that same black border to match my table. So there we go. And then I also want to add text right here just to give the kids some idea on what I'm wanting there. Maybe I want it a little smaller. Got to select it. Hello, Hillary. Thank you. So I'm going to go to that Oswald, and I'm going to center it. Okay, so they now know that they're supposed to put their word in there, and then they've got the definition illustration. So there's my Frere model, and I can use this over and over for as many times as I want. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I go and I don't want them to mess with this, so I'm going to make it a background. So I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Download as a PNG. So I'm going to add a new slide right here. Take this away. and I'm going to insert it as the background image. Change background, choose image. And now, since I inserted it as the background, they are not able to mess with any of my boxes or mess with any of that. So now all they would have to do to fill this out is they're going to go put their own text box and fill it out. If I needed to for the younger students, I can have this text box here and say type here. I can even on that text box so they see it better, I can give it a color. And all you have to do for that is Control C, Control V, move it down here for the other ones. And maybe I want the other ones to be a different color. Okay, so that's another way you can do this. So those are the Frere models. The next activity is a sorting activity. So for my sorting activity, I want to go back to my science days. So I'm going to get rid of my middle, close my theme. So I want to do a sorting activity on solids, liquids, and gases. So I'm going to do the same thing about the table. I'm going to insert a table, and I want 3 columns, and I want 2 rows. So, but I want on this bottom row, I want it to be bigger than my top row. So my top rows where I'm going to say solids, liquids, and gases. Now on this one, my idea for them is to go and find pictures, or I can have my own pictures over here on the side for them. So on my table, I can select this front and I can go to my fill and I say, maybe I want this to be yellow. Maybe I want the liquids to be a pink color, red, and maybe I want this one to be blue. Okay, and so I need to find pictures for them to go and sort. So the way I like to do this is to use the insert image, but to search from the web inside, so where I don't have to go out to Google. And this is great for the kids. The less tabs they have to go in and out of, the better. So when I'm looking here for solids, so maybe I want to find, or let's go ahead and start with gases. So I'm looking at helium, but maybe I want to add the word transparent at the end. You don't have to. It's just looks a little nicer. So that's going to remove the background and the white. So there's some balloons, and I'm going to insert that. Okay, so I'm going to drag these over on the side, and then I'm going to do the same thing. Maybe I want to insert image, search the web, and I'll leave the transparent and just move the helium. And now maybe I want ice. There's me one. So I click on it, insert. Insert image, search the web, leave the transparent, and uh, maybe water droplet. So I could go on and find a whole bunch of different items, but essentially the students are going to see this and they can go and drag them where they go. Okay, so you can do this with multiple different things. So chemical reactions, you can do this for all grade levels in anything that you might need to sort. So I'm going to change the name of that one to sorting. And let's see what other one. So after the sorting is manipulatives. So for the manipulatives, I like the one I'm going to use is about money. So I'm going to do new slide presentation. And I'm going to title this one money. Get rid of my middle. So on this one, I'm on my background. Um, I may want to make my background maybe a green for money. So I want to draw a box, and this is where I want to make this where I'm going to have the problem for them. So I want my text to be up at the top. So right now it's in the middle. I'm going to go to align, and I'm going to click here to say top. So maybe I want them to find the exact or in the less coins possible, using the least coins possible. Maybe I want them to find 86 cents. Okay, so in this box, I'm going to, I want to have a black background so they can see it easier. So this is the area in which they're going to drag their stuff. So now I've got to go find my coins. So I'm going to insert image, search the web, and remember that transparent trick. So I want quarter transparent. And then insert. And then we're going to use that same trick that we did earlier where you can also do Control D instead of pasting them. So Control D duplicates. And then I'm going to drag across them again. And remember, I'm going to go to Arrange, Align, Center, Arrange, Align, Middle. And that's going to stack them. So now I need to go get all my other coins. Insert image. Here's the problem with the nickel when you search for it this way. If I insert the nickel, all of these nickels have a white background, every single one of them. So what I would do is I would add a new slide because I want to make this image. I'm going to show you a trick on getting transparent backgrounds when you can't. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it into this blank slide. I'm going to download this as an image. So I'm going to go download as a PNG. Then there's a lovely website called remove.bg. Remove.bg. So this will remove any background image. So if I drag that money, it's going to remove the background of that image. So now there's no longer any white background and I have a plain nickel. So then I'm going to download it. I'm going to go back to my money slide. I'm going to move the one with the white background and I'm going to drag and drop in. Now you'll see right here that I've got this space around it. So this is back to where that cropping came in when I double click and I get the black outline. I take those handlebars and I'll move them in. And I hit enter. And I can stretch this out a little bit if I need to. And I'm going to do that same thing, Control D. Then I drag across them and I stack them. Arrange, align, center, arrange, align, middle. And there's all my nickels. Insert image, search the web, and I don't have any problems with the dimes. The only problem you have is that it comes in too big. So I just resize it, always from the corners. Control D, drag across, arrange, align, center, arrange, align, middle. And you saw the guides that were helping those line up in the middle. And then same thing, go get my penny. So you can apply this to a lot of different things. I could so see this being useful for chemical equations too, and having like some subscripts that they can drag up, balancing chemical equations and things like that. Um, Other math facts and things, any other little manipulative things that you might need. So there's my penny. I need to duplicate it, arrange, align, center, arrange, align, middle. Okay, so I don't want them messing. I'm going to get rid of that slide. I don't want them messing with the text. Okay, so I'm going to make a new slide. Actually, sorry, I'm going to back up for a sec. I'm going to duplicate this slide. I'm going to duplicate, but when I duplicate this slide, I want to take the money off because remember that they're going to need to move that. So I don't want to lock that. So I'm about to lock this image. But I'm going to change because I have the one above that is 80. Well, I can leave this one 86 cents, but I can change the number each time on this slide. So slide number 2 is going to be the one that's going to be your editable slide. Um, but I need to go take a picture of this one. So I'm going to go to File, Download as PNG. I'm going to add a new slide, get rid of this, and then we're going to use that background trick. So we're going to right click, change background, choose image. I have that money. So there's my 86-cent one. Now this number 2 is going to be my editable slide. So I'm going to go change this every time and repeat that step to make my other, how many ever times I want them to do this. Okay, so on this one, all I have to do is drag across the money now because I had that made. I'm going to copy it and then paste it. So now my 86-cent one, if I drag across this, it's locked. They can't change that, but they can go and move the money and solve the problem. So if I want to make another one, I'm going to go to slide 2. I'm going to change it to uh, 43 cents. I've got to take a picture. I've got to lock this background because I don't want them changing that text. So I'm going to go to File, Download, and as a PNG. I'm going to add the new slide, take away, and then I'm going to right click, change background, choose image, and I'm going to drag that up. So now there's my 43-cent slide. Go back to my first one, select my money, and paste it. So you can keep doing that all the way through. Just remember that your slide 2 is going to be your editable one, and that's the one that you're going to change all your different types of money that you want. And that's the one that you're going to be downloading as a picture and adding as the background for the other slides. So that is your money activity. One other thing that may give you a little bang for your buck is inserting video segments. Chunking your content. With these online learners, you want to make sure that you're not giving them too much all at once. So giving them little snippets, you're going to get a lot more out of them. This video that I wanted to insert here is a Bill Nye the Science Guy water cycle video. That was one of my favorites to use in 8th grade science. And there is one particular song in the middle of it that is called Water Cycle Makes It Rain, Rain. And it's kind of like the crisscross makes you want to jump, jump. That's the tune it went to. And I loved that. And so I just want my kids to see that portion of the video because this video is 24 minutes long and maybe I don't want them to see it all. So one thing you can do is when you go to insert a video, you can find a YouTube video that you want and you can say insert. So that's what I've done. So here is the video. Whenever I click on it and select it, see how it's highlighted in blue? I can go to Format Options, and I have options to change that video. So when I click on the format options, you'll see over here the Bill Nye the Science Guy complete video is right there. I can watch it and play it until that point that I want it to start, which is at 20 minutes and 29 seconds is where the video of the water cycle makes it rain song is. So I say start the video at 2029, and then I watch it and I pause it where it ends, and I can go in and say it ends at 21:59. So that's a way to shorten your videos. So if you want to give them, you're recording a lesson that's an hour long or however long, you want to give them little pieces, little bit by little bit, then this is a great way to do that. Then also inside of that, I can tell it, do I want it to autoplay when presenting? If they're in this edit mode, then that's not going to be the option you want. You can also give them an assignment off to the side. Maybe I want to add a slide here, and the next thing they're going to do is on a Google slide, I want you to, after listening to the water cycle song, go and create your own water cycle, your own diagram of it. And they'll use that knowledge that they learned in that video to go and then make that activity. So that's something that you can do as well. Moving on to ways and ideas that you can find your own background. So making your own slides just little more pizzazz to them. The themes that come with the normal Google Slides are not too great. They're very limited. So here's some awesome ways that you can look at that. The Slides Mania lady actually has a 9 to 5 job and in the finance world. And she likes to do this and create them on the side. And so she just made a a site that she posts everything that she makes, all kinds of templates. So Slides Mania is awesome. Um, the next one, maybe you're asking, where do you find these lessons? How do I find them? There are so many lessons out there that are already made, examples of things that I just showed you. Drag and drop activities that all you got to do is go find them and click the template button or make your own copy. So, places you can look, templates for teachers, there's a picture of it over here. Ditch That Textbook with Matt Miller. He is amazing and he's got all kinds of links to um, things that you can use and look at. Eric Kurtz with Control Alt Achieve, and also HyperDocs. So any of those four are great places that if you're interested, you can go start searching. Templates, Ditch That Textbook. Matt Miller had a blog post about 30 interactive Google Slide activities for classroom excitement. And these over on the side are just a few that I pulled out. Probably my favorite one, and I'm not even an English teacher or was never an English teacher, is the novel Hyperdocs. It is just really neat. And my son had to do To Kill a Mockingbird, a big report for pre AP English at Merkel. And that was To Kill a Mockingbird. And this would have been awesome. This would have been so cool to go through that. So these are all where you can just get the Hyperdoc. It walks the kids through it. It has videos inside it. There's the Outsiders, all kinds of great works with interactive things that the students can do. So just little things about that. Choose your own adventure. That's great. Interactive notebooks, a slip and slide add-on. Once you've assigned it in Google Classroom, you can use that slip and slide extension and you can assign new pages and they will accumulate into one notebook for the kid. So you may want to check that out. Want to make sure I can get to some question answer here in a second. Um, Another idea for just making your assignments just a little bit better. So at the end of those interactive um, templates that we made, like the money, you might think about adding an ending slide that says, like, when you're done, submit this through Google Classroom. And what I've done here is I linked the assignment. So maybe if it was a drag and drop activity, when you're in that Google Classroom and you open that assignment, there's 3 chocolate chips next to your title of your assignment. You can edit it, you can delete it. There's the copy link. If I copy the link and I go paste it and link it to where it says Google Classroom. So all the kids have to do is when I go here, then it automatically opens up straight to that assignment and they can hit the turn in button easily. So there's way less for the little students. And even let's be honest, my freshman would just he'd be all over this because it would be less work for him. But if you click that, then it just directs you right there. And once that assignment's finished, then it's already attached, and all they got to do is click the turn in button. So just a little helpful tip on that on a Google Classroom redirect. And then we don't want to leave out accessibility features, really huge, and we want to make sure that we're reaching every student that we can, even our remote learners, and make sure that every need's met. So some things about accessibility within Google Slides is you have the closed captioning. So if I go and if I present, I can go and turn on the closed captioning, and you'll see the closed captioning work there at the bottom. Now, it doesn't work with like punctuation and things like that, so um, just they'll have to keep that in mind. But it's really cool to have those words come across for students that might need it. And maybe they're having video issues, but maybe they can still see that closed captioning. So just another little tip with the closed captioning. And then I got ahead of myself. So here's the closed captioning right here. This link has the 6 ways to make the most out of closed captioning in Google Slides, and that's a Matt Miller post. One of the ways that I really liked the most was about having the kids open up a Google slide and turn the closed captioning on themselves and using it to practice pronunciation. So maybe your TELPAS students or your speech students. Maybe if they felt a little comfortable doing that, then they could work on some of those things that they have been doing in, sessions and whatnot that they could practice and get a little comfortable. The Google Help Center, that goes to all the steps on how to turn on the closed captioning, what to do if it's not working, just troubleshooting. And then on Google Classroom differentiation, you do have the ability when you're assigning inside of Google Classroom to go and hit the drop down arrow where it used to say all students. So this drop down arrow lets you go between classes, and this drop down arrow, you can select individual students. So if I needed to take this assignment or this presentation, I could go to File, Make a Copy, and maybe that's my modified one. And then I can go assign that one and say, okay, I need student 1, 4, and 7 to have that. And I can go and click those, and they're going to get that one, and nobody knows the difference. So you can select those that apply, and you want to make sure that when you're assigning all these that you're going to make a copy for each student so that they're able to edit it. So make sure you click that before you assign it. And one of the tips, you may want to invite your special education teacher, and you probably have already done that by now since we're 6 weeks in, just so they can be co-teachers in the Google Classroom and make sure everybody's staying caught up. Oral instructions. Insert audio is a great feature inside of Google Slides. If I go to Insert Audio, I can insert different pieces of audio that I have. So these are files that I've saved. I can click on one and click select, and it's going to enter it. Those are songs. I'm not going to do that. Online voice recorder helps you get those. So if I go to online voice recorder, I just click the start button and I start recording my voice. So this is online voice recorder, and it's a great tool to use with Google Slides. I stop it. I'm going to save it. I can go into my Google Drive and I can upload that into my drive. So I want to show you my drive real quick, because one of my suggestions on this is whenever you're making these recordings and you're saving them and you're putting them in Drive, you'll see I have one right here called audio files. Any recording that I do, I'm going to put it in that folder. The reason being is that each one of those by default, when you put them in your drive, is set up to private. If I go up here and I say on this, share, and that's my whole folder up at the top, and I change this and make it get to anyone with the link, every file, every audio file that I upload into that folder is going to take those rights. So if I happen to stick it in the biggest mistake is that um, people put it into their Google presentation, they insert it or their Google slide, and the other people can't access it. And it's because of the rights. It's still marked private. So if you just get in the habit of making that folder and putting all the files in, then you'll be good. Moving on to talk and comment, that's an extension. I showed this over here so you can click and play. This is the icon over here. When I click it, it launches and I can talk. I go to add a comment and I paste the URL that it gives you, and then it attaches that. So that'd be great for grading, for some feedback responses that you might need on an assignment. And also, we love Loom screencasting here. I can make videos with Loom, little short tutorials, and I can attach them. And that also comes as a Chrome extension. And there's the link right there that you can click on to get to that. Here's some resources, Google's accessibility training playlist. Any video that you might need on any accessibility feature that Google has is in this playlist. Short 2-3 minute videos. The link to all the Google Slide blog posts that Ditch That Textbook has, it's filtered and searched for you. If you work with littles and you need help on how to use Google Slides, primarily Google Susan Stewart is amazing. And one of my favorite Facebook groups is Teach with Tech. They are always sharing templates of whatever they've created and made, and all you have to do is click on it, and it adds it to your shared with me folder. If you click that link of whatever they have, the next time you get into your shared with me, you can search for it and it will be there. And then HyperDoc's Facebook group as well. They have lots of templates. Here's some resources of different other little activities that you may be interested in. And is there any questions that we may need to go over? I know they're about to shut my internet down here in just a second. So they wanted to cut off and do some changing. Make sure, please, that you make a comment or put your name over in the comments so that we have record of your attendance and you get credit today. And we also wanted to share with you real quick, Christy, can you put up your our flyer of our other trainings, please? So here's a flyer of our other trainings coming up. So mine was today. Christy is doing Jamboard on October 7th. And same time, it's going to be the same format. You'll have that link in your registration, and that's about the Jamboard whiteboard that is inside. It's the digital whiteboard. It's also going to be inside some Google Meet. So October 14th, Sean's doing Pear Deck with Google Slides, and that's great for face-to-face or remote instruction. And then October 27th, we have our great compile that we always love, and we have a special guest this time for Casey Bell. She's with Shake Up Learning, and that's going to be, if you've heard of her, it's going to be a great time. And November 17th, we have a Google Educator group. It's a West Texas virtual town hall. It's just going to be a panel of you guys. If you join, we're going to have some Google guests that just want to hear. So they're going to be your audience, and everybody has a voice. So if there's anything that you don't like or that you wish you could, worked better inside of Google, join that and let them know about it. And let me go ahead and put mine back up. And I hope throughout all of this today, I've left you a little, at least mind blown on one thing that you might can go and take back and look at. And again, if you have any questions or need help in any way, there's my contact information, and all of my friends, Sean and Christy, would love to help as well. So one of us will contact you if you need it. Let's see. Donna says, "How will we get the tools?" So the presentation is going to be attached. It's going to be in that description of the video, the YouTube video. So it's going to be in that description. It'll have the presentation. Any others? Let's see. Okay, so Brandy asked, "Is there a way to lock the images so they can't be resized?" On the money, no, there's not. Not that I'm aware of. Um, I just would teach the kids just to make sure that when they take their mouse over it, to wait just a second. And once they see those crosshairs, then they know that they can move it. So, if they don't see the crosshairs, then they're going to be editing the image. Okay, well, yeah, make sure you're signed in. I appreciate it. Thank you.